Hello racing fans and welcome to Trackside, proudly brought to you by the best in the best. Yes, Bet with World Sports Betting. They bring you this program. It's a weekly program recorded during the course of the week and played out on Fridays for the weekend. And this weekend, well, it is another bumper weekend when it comes to the feature races. Of course, at Greyville, it features the three-year-old top liners of the season, the Wellington and the Daily News, and really looking forward to both races and seeing how these horses come to their prep, those that will be taking their place in a month's time in the Vodacom Durban July. Well, that's all happening at Greyville. We also have racing at Kenilworth on Saturday, and then we move along to Sunday at Turfentine. What's happening on the show for this weekend? Well, I've picked out 4 horses on the show, and what I've done is a double and a treble. So we're going to talk about 4 horses. It's going to be a double and a treble that will be up on the betting menu on World Sports Betting. So let's begin with the first of our 4 horses, and that will come up at Greyville in race number 2, and his name is Gainsford. He's trained by Vaughan Marshall and will be ridden by Grant van Niekerk. He's horse number 9 in race number 2, and both his wins down in Cape Town have been over 1,200 meters. He's had 2 runs in the province. He took his place in the Bali Turk over 1,400 meters. It wasn't the worst of runs behind his stable companion that was seeking the stars. He would have needed that run. And then last time out took his place in the full flight handicap. Now it says that he finished 10th, under 6 lengths behind the eventual winner Ishnana. Now that doesn't tell a full story, and you have to watch the replay. But I'm going to try and explain the replay to you. Okay, Gainsford jumped out. He's head towards the back of the field. He was actually following the right horse in the race, the eventual winner Ishnana. But as you know, at Scottsville, you know, when jockeys tend to think that they need to move to the middle to inside of the track, which is, inverted commas, the better going on the day. And then in the field of 1,400 meters, in a field of 14 runners down the straight, it is going to get cramped, and you are going to get hard luck stories. And that's what happened to Gainsford. He was traveling smoothly going into the final 500 meters. Grant van Niekerk was just sitting and waiting for the gaps to happen on the inside for him, and nothing was going. Nothing was going for him. There were no gaps at all. Ishnana found a clear run, went on to win it, and well done to Gart Puller, of course, Atadiwe and Gutla and Mr. Smith and Mr. Mslongo, the proud owners of Ishnana, really did their proud with a good win. But Gainsford, when there was no room towards the inside of the track, decided that, you know, let's look for a run on the outside, and it looked to be a clear run, so Grant van Niekerk moved him out, and unfortunately the door slammed shut in his face. It was a horse that was called Speed Machine. I think Richard Free was on that horse, Speed Machine, moved in sharply and hampered this horse badly. And Grant van Niekerk had to take a hold of his mount. He was unbalanced. He had to check. Everything went wrong for him, and over the final 200, this horse was only punched out with the hand. So there were hard luck stories for a few, but I think of all the runners in the race, if you watch that replay, this horse, Gainsford, was most severely hampered in that full flight handicap. He's now at Greyville. He's drawn wide, but on Saturday the full straight would be 7 meters as they turn in the straight. So giving horses all the comfort, all the room to fan out down the straight at Greyville. And there's not going to be any excuses this time around, even though he's drawn line. And I think if he brings his best form, Gainsford, he's possibly the right horse in the race. So that's race number 2, horse number 9, Gainsford. Then the second horse we're going to talk about comes up in race number 8, and we're staying at Greyville. And it looks like a highly competitive D division, C division class, a meritorious 80 handicap. And the runner that I picked out here is Prince of Taranto. Tony Riverland will team up with Stuart Randolph, and Stuart knows his horse well. He's the guy that won the maiden on Prince of Taranto. That was at Greyville. In fact, all of his runs have been at Greyville. And when he won at his penultimate start, he was slow away, but when asked to run, the turn of foot was superb. You really can tell on the speed of the horse. And then his post-maiden run, well, we spoke about hard luck stories for Gainesville. Well, this horse has his own hard luck stories. And again, the replay tells a true story. He was slow away. He was towards the back of the field. There was only one horse that was slower than him out the gates, and that was Sovereign Soldier. So he was sitting second to last for most of the way. And when he turned into the straight, he had a mountain to climb. He had lots of ground to make off, and he was done. He was green. He didn't know what he was doing. He was changing his legs down the straight and moving in, moving out. And he only started to get his mind on the job over the final 100 meters when Luke Ferrara straightened him up. He ran on and ran on smartly. If I stopped the race at the 200, he was never going to finish in the first 4. And he managed to run in the top 3. He ran third behind Walton Hall. So that was a very good run. Of course, with horses that missed a break, it's always a lottery on how they're going to jump on the day. And I'm just hoping that maybe the stable of Tony Riverland taking him back to the starting stalls back home, and it's reschooled him, and if he comes to the track and jumps on turn sitting midfield turning to the straight, I think that his turn of foot will be too strong for this field. If he's slow away, then fingers crossed on the day that he can pick them up over the final 400. So that's going to be our second horse, Prince of Toronto at Greyville. The third of our 4 horses is at Cape Town, and it's race number 6 over 1,200 meters. Now, I was super impressed the way this filly got the job done on debut. Yes, there was confidence in the betting market for her, and she was fancied by the yard as well. And she was so sensible, she was so professional on debut. She jumped out, she was in the race early. She's just got natural pace and speed, and she ran all the way to the line. I think there's plenty more to come from this filly. It's always tough for them out the maidens. We understand that it's then you're taking on winners. It's competitive racing. But when you look at this field, in a barring Hidden Strings, horse number 9, who's a 2-time winner, the balance of the field are all 1-time winner. And I think she's progressive. There's more to come from her. That debut win would have brought her on a ton. And I'm hoping that she could follow up and make it 2 from 2. She's an Australian import, safe to assume. And I think that she could be a horse to follow until she gets beat. Andre Nell teaming up with Callan Murray. And then our 4th horse will come up at Turfentine on Sunday, and it's race number 6 over 1,600 meters. And we did go for this horse before on Trackside. His name is Indlamu. He's trained by Sean Terry, will be partnered by Lyle Hewson. And I keep going to his run 3 starts back when he was third behind his stable companion, the unbeaten Paisley Park. In that race was Copper Mountain. And Copper Mountain, we know, has since gone on to place 3rd in the Ruffian Stakes. Tony Ruffle Stakes, apologies. He went on to finish 3rd in the Tony Ruffle Stakes. He then went on to run 3rd in the World Sports Betting 10 Guineas behind the mighty Malmoose. And also ran an absolute blinder in the Horse Chestnut Stakes, where he finished 2nd behind the ruling Vodacom Durban July favourite in Got the Green Light. So Copper Mountain takes his place in the Daily News on Saturday as well, so we see how he goes there. Of course, he's got a stable companion in the race called Second Base. But coming back to Indlamo, that form line behind his stable companion Paisley Park is looking good. He's had 2 runs back after that race where they rested him behind Batoldi, and last time out, well, he showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of guts, but he just found one better when beaten by Rise as 1. Draw 1, even though he's carrying 60.5 kgs top weight, the 3-year-old, I think he'll be cherry ripe. He'll be primed for this race as having his 3rd run back, and there'll be no excuses this time around. If you're worrying about the distance, don't be. He jumps from 1,400 to 1,600 meters, which I think will suit him much better. Okay, that's the 4 horses. How are we going to play it? What's going to be up on the World Sports Betting menu? Well, this is the way I've played it. I've taken the double on Saturday at Greyville, so that's going to be up the double. Race number 2, Gainesford, and race number 8, Prince of Toronto. And then the treble for the day, we're going to include race number 2, which is Gainesford. Then we're going to include Safe to Assume at Kenilworth, which will be race number 6. And then we move over to Turfentine on Sunday, race number 6 in Glamo. So it'll be Gainesford, Safe to Assume, and Glamo That'll be the weekend Trackside treble. Now, it is a bumper weekend, as I mentioned, so it's a bonus pick six for the guys, and I'm going to call out the numbers. The bonus pick six is for Greyville on Saturday. They got R1 million carried over to that pool, and the estimated pool will be R5 million. Yeah, R5 million to chase at Greyville on Saturday, featuring the Lavington and the Daily News. Leg number 1, jot down these numbers, which will be race number 4, 13:35, 25 to 2. So don't be caught napping. You want to be part of the action here. We've gone with 2, 4, 6 horses, all this in numerical order. We're going with 1, Integrity, 2, Consul's Queen. Then we move along to 6, Flower of Saigon. Number 9, Top Me Up Holly. 11, Slivanora. And we've included number 13, Twice to Sydney. Our second leg, we've gone with 7 horses. It is the Lonsdale Stirrup Cup. It's a Group 3 over 2,400 meters. The 7 horses, again in numerical order. I'm not going to discount the filly, Catch a Falling Star. She's well related, she's well bred. Number 4, we'll get a mention, Black Nab. A lot of anti-post betting support for Vaughan Marshall's runner. Then number 7, Matterhorn. What a run from him in the World Sports Betting 1900 behind She's a Keeper. And then numbers 12, 13, 14 and 15. 12 being St. Philip, who's turned his career around. He's on a hat-trick. Silver Horse and Black Bayberry from the stable of Justin Snape. And then number 14, Chrome Yellow. Then it's on to the Lavington, and a race that I'm really looking forward to. The best 3-year-old from Gauteng. The winner of the Triple Tiara, the Ipi Tombi Stakes, and of course the 3 Troikas. She's now won 2, 4, 5 on the bounce. She's going for 6 in a row, War of Athena, and she's no doubt the horse to beat, and she'll be a popular place accumulator banker, exacta banker, maybe even a pick 6 and jackpot banker if you're in her camp. But I've gone with cover. I've always liked this filly trained by Adam Marcus called Princess Keller. After her debut win, she's just been in feature race after feature race, and she certainly hasn't been disgraced against some big names down in Cape Town. And of the 3-year-olds in Cape Town, I think herself and Captain's Ransom was an unfortunate scratching in the Lavington. Arguably the 2 best 3-year-olds coming out of Cape Town. So it's War of Athena versus Princess Keller for me in that pick 6 of numbers 1 and 5. Then on to race number 7, and this is the Daily News 2000. Well, I've picked out 2 of the best that I feel, in my opinion, the best 2 3-year-old individuals to come out of Cape Town, and that will be Comedy Dern and Linebacker. Of course, Linebacker, the winner of the Derby, the winner of the World Sports Betting Guineas as well, and Comedy Dern, the winner of the Politician Stakes. And he was a touch unlucky. He was a touch unlucky in the World Sports Betting Guineas as well. He's got a big reputation, and those 2 will get a mention out of Cape Town. And then the 2 horses, well, they form the top 3. I think Malmoos, Second Base, and Copper Mountain, they form the top 3 out of Gauteng when it comes to the 3-year-olds. Malmoos, unfortunately, not making the trip down. So Johan Janssen van Vuren has got Second Base and Copper Mountain. And interesting to note that riding in arrangements, Kevin Darina this time round is on Copper Mountain. So worth noting that. So the numbers there will be 6, 7, 8 and 10 in the Daily News. And then, as we mentioned in our horses to follow for the weekend, we've included Prince of Taranto in that double. I gave you the lowdown with regards to the form and the hard luck stories that he had last time out. This is where pick 6s are won or lost. And when I say won or lost, I mean when it comes to percentages. If you want a greater percentage, this looks like a competitive race. Make no mistake, it looks like a difficult race, but if you get a banker a 6-to-1 shot and it arrives for you, well, you can certainly cut down that perm to a bigger percentage in your favor. So Prince of Taranto, we are hoping that he can get the job done. The last race is an absolute minefield. Thus far, after 5 legs, that pick 6 is costing 336 Rand. So if you include the field in the last leg, that will cost you 4,704 Rand. But I've tried to narrow it down, and I've included 2, 4, 6, 7 runners, and in numerical order, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, and 11. And I'll read out those names of those 2, 4, 6, 7 runners. 1 being See the Light, 2 being Just a Guy Thing. Then we move along to horse number 3, which is Crusade Star. Horse number 6, Antigonus. 7 is Sesura. 9 and 11 will get a mention from me. And 9 being Roy's Magic, and 11 being Gimme a Rainbow. Let's go through those numbers. Let's repeat those numbers for that pick 6. That pick's costing 2,352 Rand, 236 Rand. Fractional betting will give you 10%. 1, 2, 6, 9, 11, and 13. By 1, 4, 7, 12, 13, and 14. By 1 and 5. By 6, 7, 8, and 10. By 5 a banker. And then the last leg, and hopefully we're running, we're smiling. Prince of Taranto arrives, and we're going into the last leg. Well, it's short. We've just got the 2, 4, 6, 7 runners, as I mentioned. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, and 11. And again, that's spent 2,352 Rand or 2,236 Rand will be 10%. That's a wrap. Yes, it's been a long show, longer than usual, but we've given you 4 horses to follow. The double and the treble will be on World Sports Betting, and of course that pick 6 that we're all chasing, that 5 million Rand on Saturday at Greyville. All that's left for me to say, guys, is on behalf of World Sports Betting, thanks to all the punters, but more importantly and more especially you, the valued customer. Until next week, you take care. Salami Gashle.